Yo, how is it going, Dokkan gamers? It's been a while since we've done a traditional video here. I've been taking a big break from Dokkan. I didn't cover basically any of this, actually. But anyway, we're here. Let me just jump into this. We don't need to reminisce. We're doing calculations for these two. For those of you who don't want to listen to me just yap on, they're on Twitter. All right, like listen, they're already up here. Don't listen to me. Go check me out and just look at them on there. Now you can't complain. You can't. I already gave you your out. You can't say, "Oh, stop spending to get to the calcs." All right, listen. I already showed you. Here's your out right here. Go right here. This is your out, right? I'm telling you now. For those of you who are like, TikTok attention spans, or you don't want to listen to me, you find me annoying. That's great. Here's your out. Leave and go look at them on here and ask me questions, okay? Anyway, for those of you who are here from me, I appreciate you. Thank you for staying. We've made it now a minute in. All the TikTok brain rot viewers who can't have an attention span of more than 3 seconds, that's why Left Shark is here, they're gone. They're gone now. It's just us, okay? So let's go ahead. Let's talk about these characters. Let's get into the calculations. Let's talk about everything here. So, Majin... Oh, well, hang on. There we go. Majin Vegeta, or Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta, and Super Saiyan 2 Goku are finally getting their EZAs. These are some of the best New Year's units that we've ever gotten, like ever. These guys were super, super good. And lasted for like a really long time. But anyway, let's just go ahead and talk about it. So leader skills don't really matter. Super attack effects, I think, are pretty much unchanged in base, I think. Let me look. I guess Vegeta got attack here. Okay, so that's good. That's always helpful. So Will for a serious fight is his passive skill. So he gets 2 key in attack and defense, 150% in phase 1 of his passive. Most people know that as the start of turn buff, but I'm going to start calling it phase 1 because that's what it is. He gets damage reduction of 30%, not bad. So this kind of works the same way as it did before, but it's got a little bit of extra stuff tacked on here now. So the more HP you have, the higher attack stats he does. The less HP you have, he does lower attack stats, but he'll have higher defense. In general, I like to think that that's the way that I like to have it, I think. If you are above 50% or more in terms of HP, you get a great chance of launching an additional super attack, which is good. And then if you are below 50% HP, you guard all attacks, which is really, really good. So, yeah, I mean, that's nice. Like, being able to get guaranteed guard on this guy if you are below 50% HP is pretty nice, especially coupled with the damage reduction that this guy does have, so that's pretty good. And then right here, randomly changes key spheres of a certain type to rainbow when there is another Majin Buu Saga category ally attacking the same turn, or a Majin Buu Saga category enemy. So you're probably going to be running this guy on a Majin Buu Saga team, most likely. And Majin Buu Saga, there are a lot of characters right now that are in the game on Majin Buu Saga. I'm not completely out of touch with the game at the moment. I did notice that they added a bunch of characters to the category recently, so that is nice. This guy's going to have a lot of different characters that are going to be able to activate that rainbow orb changing. And then obviously if you just run them with the Goku, which you can do on several teams, that's going to be, I mean, there you go, right? Like, there it is. We do have a couple Majin Buu Saga category enemies as well. He gets damage reduction of 20% with a rainbow key sphere, so that's good. It's going to be able to get him up to a total of 50% damage reduction. Potentially, you could get guard activated with that as well. That's going to be pretty nice. But even if you don't have the guard, like, that should still be solid for, like, a slot 2 character. Not a ton going on in terms of his defense. I mean, he is going to have this, but one thing you have to keep in mind with this extra 120% is that it is HP restrictive, so this is going to be inconsistent. So you can't just count on him always having 270% defense, right? Oh, and by the way, I don't know if I said this, but this is also a phase 1 buff, so this will add into the same phase as this. So as your HP gets lower and lower, just imagine that this boost goes up as your HP goes down, and it'll cap out at 270%. So, again, this is inconsistent because it's based on HP, but it's good that he gets it. But if you're ever like expecting a consistent performance out of this guy, I don't know that I would anticipate that. The good news is that his transformation condition was made a little bit easier. So you have to be facing one enemy third turn, and 50% or more HP, which is, not a bad condition. I believe before it was 70 or 80%, so dropping it down to 50 is going to make it a lot easier to transform him into Majin Vegeta, and Majin Vegeta is an absolute maniac, so we'll get to that in just a minute. And then this right here, this is a Phase 2 buff right here. Attack and defense plus 120% when attacking with 3 or more key spheres obtained. So that's, that's just a nice little, most people would call this a multiplicative buff. The thing about that is that there's several multiplicative buffs, right? Like, super attack effects are multiplicative. Links are multiplicative. This buff is multiplicative with this buff. So just calling something a multiplicative buff doesn't really explain what it is very well. So what I would want you guys to think of whenever you're thinking about how to calculate these things is you have your defense stat, and then you have your leader skill buff, you have your links, you have your passive phase 1, you've got your passive phase 2, and you've got your super attack buff, or super attack phase. And then you've also got things like the active skill phase, the domain phase, and different things like that. But for the most part, your standard is you have your defense stat, you've got your links phase, you've got your leader skill phase, you've got your passive phase 1, passive phase 2, and then super attack effect are your main things that I want you guys to focus on whenever you're thinking about like calculating characters and what is and is not a multiplicative buff and things like that. It's important to know like what phase things are going in. So typically phase 1 is going to be anything that you can phase 1 is typically going to be things like this, where you're just getting attack and defense plus 150%. Like, you just get that. Phase 2 is going to be things like this, where you get it on super attack, after dodging, when performing an attack, or things like that, right? That's going to be your multiplicative buffs. So, or phase 2 buffs. So just think about it like that. Okay, so then we've got Majin Vegeta. Oh, and by the way, here are his links. I'll go ahead and go over Majin Vegeta. We can just go over this now, and then I'll go over all the calcs at once. So greatly raises attack and defense 50%, so that's pretty good. And then a 70% chance to stun. That does matter in a couple different fights. I'm still not used to the new symbols yet. I'm also not a big fan, but just call me an old head. It is what it is. Key 3, attack and defense plus 200%, reduces damage received by 33% now. That is pretty good. This is up from 150 up to 200. And then this is all basically the same, but now it's up to 150 instead of 120, I believe is what it was at previously. So this is good. And then otherwise it's the same. These numbers just went up. They work the same mechanically. So, instead of going to a boost of 270 because it'd be 150 plus 120, now you're going to a boost of 350, so 200 plus 150. Randomly changes key spheres of a certain type of rainbow key sphere. So this is the same thing. Additional damage reduction of 33% when rainbow key sphere is obtained. That's effectively the same. And then at 3 or more key spheres, you get super effective against all types and an additional 130% attack and defense in phase 2. And then if you get 6 key spheres, you're going to get an additional 66% in phase 2, which makes this 196% when attacking phase 2. And guards all attacks with 6 or more key spheres. So yeah, like I said, 6 or more key spheres. So this is going to be pretty easy. The catch with this guy always, whenever he came out initially, was getting him the 6 key spheres. But now that he's a rainbow orb changer, this should not be hard at all. And then he does lose prepared for battle for over in a flash, but he also gets supreme power. So his defensive capabilities from his links don't really change. Anyway, so over here to his calcs, that's Goku. Don't look at those. So right here, here's Vegeta. Let me get rid of left shark real quick. Sorry. Can we get the other one? There we go. Okay, you guys, there. The brain rotters, we lost them. Okay. So 14,060, that's his defense. And then 11,060 is going to be his defense at 55% right here. Like I said, you got a 200% leader skill buff. You've got links. You've got the passive phase 1 of 150%. And this is assuming, so right here, this is assuming at high HP. Like this would basically be 100% HP. So we're not getting any additional boost from the 120% from the HP buff. So that's what this one is right here. This 120% is for the 3 key spheres in phase 2. You can now see I'm labeling these as phase 1 and phase 2. And then he gets 30% on super attack, and he can do up to 3 if you're above 50% HP. Then you do get the additional as a great chance of being a super attack, which means you could go super, pop the 70%, and then pop your hidden potential. You're going to do a triple super attack. And as you guys can see, he's not capping out at a super high level of defense right here. I mean, honestly. But the chances that you have 0% of his additional like HP buff activated is pretty low. So, I would expect this to be higher. It's kind of hard to calculate this guy on the fly. The only thing you would need to do is you would take your start of turn defense, multiply by 2.2, then multiply that by either 1.3, 1.6, or 1.9, depending on how many super attacks you get. So, if you ever have questions about like, oh, my Majin Vegeta has this much HP at the start of turn, I don't know what he's going to be at, just let me know. But the process would be take start of turn, multiply by 2.2, multiply by 1.3, or 1.6, or 1.9, depending on how many super attacks you get. So, anyway, you can see down here, the only thing that really changes is down here on this part. This is assuming low HP, so we've got the full 120% activated, and you can see he jumps up about 400,000 defense right here, right? So obviously that's going to be way better. And then on this side in the F column right here, this is assuming that we have 40% support activated. So that's why you can see instead of 150, it's 190. Instead of 270, it's 310. Other than that, everything else is exactly the same here for Vegeta. Down here in Majin Vegeta world, this is where we get a little bit crazy, I guess you could say. So everything is pretty much the same. All of our numbers are just higher. And as you can see, like this guy is getting like much higher floors now compared to what he was up here. I mean, you compare the cap of 771, 367 in like a pretty minimalistic scenario to now his floor is 1.6 million in a minimalistic. Well, I guess his floor would actually be the 983 versus the 527 if you only got one super attack. So that'd be his like true floor. But again, if let's just say you get the triple super attack, 1.6 million is definitely better than 700,000. So plus he's going to be able to get guaranteed guard and 66% damage reduction. So this guy is going to be really, really crazy, as you guys can see. And if you get a little bit of support around him, you've got some low HP, this guy's going to be able to put up some real defensive value. I mean, guard, 66% damage reduction, and potentially like a 2 million, pretty easily, right? He can get up to like a 2 million defense stat. That is not going to be super hard to obtain. So big fan of this Majin Vegeta. I think they did a really good job designing him. Base form is going to be a little bit weak, but you're only going to have the base form for one turn, so I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. Maybe like Gogeta could catch him, right? That could potentially be a problem depending on if you have your guard up or not, but overall, I think this guy is going to be pretty good, and he still does have damage reduction in his base form, so even with his low levels of defense, he's going to be able to eat like normals pretty decently well. So let's go ahead and move on to Goku. I'll tell you guys, Goku is pretty much the exact same kit, but where Vegeta got like guard and damage reduction, Goku got crits and dodge, basically. Other than that, the numbers are pretty much the same across the kits, so I won't spend too much time going over Goku. You can see right here, his super attack effects are the same, 150%. This part is reversed, so where Vegeta gets defense as his HP is low, Goku gets defense as his HP is high. So as your HP gets lower, you'll actually lose defense, but you'll gain attack. So like at 100% HP, Goku has 270% defense at the start of turn, or in phase 1, basically. So that's one thing to consider, is that as your HP goes down, just imagine that you're losing bits of your defense. Other than that, pretty much the exact same thing. So, 120% with 3 key spheres, and then, rainbow orb changes. And like I said, he gets crits and he gets dodge in place of Majin Vegeta's guard and damage reduction, and yeah, just guard and damage reduction. So, he also, by the way, does not have a built-in additional in this form right here in his Super Saiyan 2 form. As you guys can see, he gets dodge, he gets defense, and then he gets more dodge right there. Right here, he gets attack, and then you get crit right there. Rainbow orb changing, crit chance, and then just, attack and defense. So there's no additional, so this guy can only do 2 super attacks in base, and that's going to be if you proc your hidden potential. That's going to be the other thing with Vegeta, is that getting your hidden potential is going to be even more common with him, because you're always going to have that additional that has a 70% chance of being a super attack. So just because you're always going to be guaranteed at least a normal with him above 50% HP, you're going to have a better chance of proccing your hidden potential attack. If you guys don't know, every time you attack, you have a chance of activating your hidden potential. That counts like counters and things like that. That's why you'll see like counter characters are more prone to getting their hidden potential additionals, is because those counters have a chance to roll it. So anyway, everything else is basically the same. He's got essentially the same link set, Kamehameha instead of like Royal Lineage. But other than that, it's basically like the exact same link set. And like I said, the exact same kit. And then again, same thing once he transforms. Another thing, I mean, again, like 200%. Yeah, all this is basically the same, but the numbers are higher. Exact same thing going on with his kit, Rainbow Orb changing. One thing he gets right here is that, remember, Majin Vegeta in his Majin Vegeta form got, I don't know if I showed it. Actually, I don't know if I did. Am I an idiot? Did I even show this? But right here, at 6 orbs in his Majin Vegeta form, he gets 196% in Phase 2. I did mention that, yeah, because he gets, what is it, like 130%, and then he gets an additional 66% with 6 key spheres. Goku does not get that extra 66% buff. He just has a flat 133. So he basically has 63% less attack and defense on super attack than Vegeta does. Or I guess in passive Phase 2. So for some reason, they did that. They gave him guaranteed crits instead, which cool, I guess, right? But I mean, I don't know. Like, it's just odd. But that is one difference here, is that instead of getting an extra, like, instead of being at 130 and then getting an extra 66% at 6 key spheres, Goku is at 133% at 3 key spheres. So, take that as you will. But other than that, again, the kits are basically the same. He loses Prepared for Battle, but again, Supreme Power still has 5% defense, so whatever. So here we go. Here's Goku. So again, in base form, it's essentially the same thing as Vegeta, except for he doesn't have the additional, and it's kind of reversed. So whereas with Goku, like his low HP scenario is going to be his 150%. Oh, hang on, let me move the shark again. So Goku at low HP is going to be at 150%. At high HP, he's going to be at the 270. So other than that, I mean, it's basically the same. Their defense stats are a little bit different, but overall, it's pretty comparable, other than, Goku can only double super. He can't triple super. So, that's kind of unfortunate. He does have the dodge. He's got the crit chance, things like that, but just kind of odd that they made Goku's base form like, I mean, already, like, Vegeta's base form was kind of, not that great. I'd say Goku's is kind of, like, significantly worse. So, take that as you will. I mean, he's got dodge. At least he has dodge, right? Like, the dodge is going to help him survive more, probably, against, say, a, Janemba or Gogeta super attack than Vegeta's just 50% damage reduction, so... But again, you're only gonna have the base form for like 1 turn, so I wouldn't stress about it too much. Down here, in his EZA form, again, it's basically the same as Vegeta. As you can see, though, he's not getting up to as high of numbers because his passive Phase 2 buff down here is lower. So, but other than that, they're pretty much they work effectively the same. You want to shoot for both to have 6 orbs. You want to shoot for both to have like a Majin Buu Saga category ally next to them. They're going to work well next to each other, honestly. I think once you get Vegeta into Majin Vegeta form, he's going to be a pretty... I don't want to say he's going to be a great slot 1 unit, but I think, depending on what your HP's at, well, actually, probably not, because he gets all of his defense, like, on super attack. So, yeah, he's not going to be a great slot 1 option, so you're probably never going to want to run these guys next to each other. Whatever. It is what it is. Anyway, let me know what you guys are thinking about these guys. Sorry I haven't done a video in forever. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you all for watching. I really appreciate it. Again, I've got these all posted on Twitter if you ever want to reference them and you don't want to watch the video. And I'll catch you guys next time.